At a small fishing village just south of Santiago, Chile, Jose Barrios and other fishermen are getting ready to head out to sea. Things here appear calm, but a state of emergency remains in effect in the country, and it's a subject that's on everyone's mind.
What's happening in the country isn't about politics. This is a social problem.
Chile's president has announced reforms to social programs in an effort to calm the crisis. But Jose says people have lost confidence in political leaders.
The President of the Republic has only patched a wound, but there is still a wound underneath. Until that wound is treated and heals, the problems of our country are not going away.
Chile is Latin America's most developed nation, but over the past week, protests have highlighted a growing angst among the citizenry. The unrest began over an increase of 30 pesos to the cost of metro transport, which amounts to about 10 cents of a dollar. That cost increase was like a spark to a powder keg in a country where many were already complaining about a worsening wealth gap between the rich and the middle class. Economists like PATRICIO NAVIA say a solution out of the crisis will require a delicate compromise from the country's political elite.
And the perception is that Chile is not in a crisis, Chile is in a difficult situation, but we are developed enough for everyone to have better living conditions. So it's a matter of distribution. If we can better distribute the wealth and the opportunities that exist in Chile, everyone is going to be better off.
After a week of unrest, demonstrations in Chile have spread to other parts of the country. A recent national poll found that 83% of Chileans are in favor of the ongoing social mobilizations. Even in Chile's smallest communities, far away from the protests that have paralyzed the country's capital, the discontent from citizens is palpable. For everyday Chileans, the crisis isn't about an increase of 30 pesos to the cost of public transportation. It's about 30 years of policies that many see as being bad for the nation. Fishermen like Jose Barrios say they hope political leaders will act on the demands of demonstrators before their quiet seaside town joins in the protests. Now, Miriam, we saw those images of people starting to gather throughout the course of today, Friday, here in the Chilean capital. We can confirm that there's somewhere around 500,000 people that have gathered in Plaza Italia. This is an iconic part of the city where political movements have traditionally started and gathered throughout the course of this country's history. There was an expectation that Friday, being the beginning of the weekend here in Chile, would be a busy day, an eventful day for protests, but I don't think anybody could have imagined the turnout. And we should note there are still more people that are joining in the demonstrations that are taking place today. Protests that have remained mostly peaceful until now. We should keep in mind that over the past week, one of the biggest points of anger from demonstrators has been the heavy-handed response from government authorities, from the military, from armed forces who have been captured on film using excessive force. It's captured the attention of international observers from the United Nations who have said that this amounts to violations of human rights. In fact, the UN is sending in a delegation on Monday that will be here for 4 weeks conducting investigations into these alleged human rights violations. Miriam?
Thank you very much with the latest on those protests unfolding in Santiago, Chile. Rapalo.